about the same.
I think we just settle that Deer Park had great football players at all times?
Pretty much.
I don't think I'm going to say that.
Well, Laporte had the
Clear Lake did.
Deer Park had the linemen, the linebackers. Laporte had the running backs. I mean, I remember for Laporte, every running back for Laporte, Division I scholarship. You know, Curvin Swervin Richards went to Pittsburgh.
Legs taller than you.
Those kids are crazy, man.
Yeah, Dobie occasionally had a couple. They had Trevor Cobb back in the day.
They were like, I played free safety, so they were like, okay, angles. If you see him coming around the side, you don't go for him. You just start running at an angle towards where you think he might be when he. So 5 yards before the end zone.
Well,
that's
let's just say this with Lamarck, Deer Park, Laporte,
dude, they were
all in Clear Lake High School's district. There's a reason why Clear Lake ran the wishbone. Kind of like the service academy, kind of try to equal the playing field a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
slow it down, kind of maintain the ball.
Those guys would pitch, get on the outside, and
trying to get
those
4
guys
yards,
were gone.
4 yards every play. You know, dive, pitch. You know, quarterbacks. Yeah. All right. Hey, I think we're actually that was our football segment, sponsored by football, which is over.
Goodbye, football.
But you know it's not over, Ryan. Grappling season.
Grappling season
had just started, right?
Grappling season never fucking ends for
Actually, from what I understand, grappling season starts
That's okay.
January 1st and ends. From what I understand, grappling season starts January 1st and ends December 31st. Is that true?
Pretty much. It's a year-round thing. But see, there are seasons. There's gi season, which happens, from like January through June. After June, everybody starts gearing up for no-gi season, and then they go from like June to December, and then it resets. So there is two like subsets in the year, but yeah, it's year-round. It's all day.
So what's the big event? The big international jiu-jitsu event? Is it the
IBJJF?
What's that? The
IBJJF.
What's that stand for?
The International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation.
Okay. And where does that usually take place, or is it
it's
travel?
in Vegas or California? Okay. I mean, they have the World Championships usually in California, in Irvine or whatever it is. The pyramid, yeah. So they do it there. But the IBJJF is is like the sanctioning body for jiu-jitsu, and they have tournaments everywhere all the time, and the points and all that come into play.
You have to register to compete with them and everything.
But it definitely is pretty dry. So I mean, unless you're training, you're
your
not going
points
to
throughout the year
dictate
lead you to that event, right?
Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of points, or you have to have one certain
sanctioned events before you show up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, like when you're the guy you just signed, when he won that match against the wrestler, I mean, I guess he got some kind of points for that.
Well, I mean,
it depends.
He got some brownie points from us. That's about it.
Right.
But he got a 5-fight deal.
But the rankings for these guys are like Flow Sports, Flow Grappling has rankings for these guys.
Okay.
So
they kind of are the big brother in this sport, right?
No, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're the ESPN for
metrics
grappling
and analytics for sure. Yeah.
So, but those guys are the ones that oversee the rankings. So, like, say Gordon does well against Bo Nickel, they're going to boost him up the rank. But he's already number one. Where the fuck else is he going to?
So, are they judging every fighter by their fight, or is there a ranking system that's like the boxing? There's
there's different criteria.
There's three different,
the alphabet. But see, like boxing sucks so bad. Now we got the WBC, the PBC, the ABC. Right. It has nobody cares unless you're undefeated.
So what is grappling? How many different divisions of
just
ranking
one, I
do
guess,
you have?
really.
I mean, there's us and then everybody else. So that's just kind of how. No, I'm just kidding. No,
right.
No, but
well, it's not. It's kind of loosely connected, right?
No,
I mean,
but still, your fighters at their fights are based on that system. Correct?
No, I mean, I make the matches that make sense. I mean, there's rankings that we can look at and this and that, but I make the matches that are going to be exciting and compelling. I don't care if it's number 1 versus number 50. If they got some good heat behind them, I'll make it. I don't care.
So does the fights that you have, do they impact
the rankings?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, we're one of the more high-vis, high-profile events in the world.
Absolutely. That's what I'm getting at.
But the criteria they look at, okay, have they fought before? Who fought this? How did they finish it? They look at different things.
The finishing of your matches depend on their rankings across this.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into it,
Yeah.
But it's really Flow Grappling that kind of publishes the rankings.
Yeah, they have a rankings guru that kind of digs into all this stuff. Super nice guy, but they kind of dictate all that stuff. So I mean, shout out to them. I mean, they're the kings.
I've seen mob movies.
So you've gone from kind of the Flow Grappling favorite child to problem child to now favorite child again?
I don't know about. I mean, favorite child depending on who you ask. But
parents have conflict.
Definitely a problem child.
But yeah, I mean, hey, problem child. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to go through the hard times to get to the good times.
Apparently it paid off, right?
It definitely paid off. But you know what? Those guys have been great since we re-signed, and we had some stuff to work out, some ways to get past some of the old bad hurt feelings. But they have a great team. They work very hard. They're trying their best. They're improving every event out they do. So I'm not going to sit there and dog out somebody that's trying to put as much effort and time into it. So they're doing a great job. We're happy with our deal. We're happy with Flow Grappling, and we're going to keep carrying the flag for those guys as long as they'll let us.
And it sounds like that they're going to be really behind this scenario in the UK and get kind of creative with it, right?
Yeah, I sent it out to them.
It sounds like it's almost going to be.
It sounds like to me like you've created something that they can't not pay attention to.
Well, they can't like us. There's not
visible for sure,
right?
Well, with us, that was my thing. Is like, you're not going to be able to go anywhere without seeing something about Third Coast Grappling. When I told you about kind of dominating the marketing marketplace, I threw out all the typical like, oh, well, you got to post at this time, you need to do this, you need to craft this and that. We do more of like a grassroots viral approach where we seem accessible and relatable to everybody else, so we're not over polished to where we're like putting out statements and just clogging everybody's timeline up with unoriginal content. Like, we're always trying to make it interesting, be interactive. I'm constantly on our social myself. I'm the one doing the social media.
Right.
I'm out there talking to people, interacting, and keeping the pulse of the game, because I think a lot of people, they get too far up in this game and they lose touch about what's really making people turn out, what's making them excited, and what's really going on. So I always have my hand on the pulse of the game, trying to see where the trends are, what's winning here, what's winning there. And another thing that recently came out was the pay-per-view thing, like we talked about I was going to do.
Right.
So the reason we didn't do it is I finally got to the bottom of like the numbers for grappling.
Well, the reason you didn't do it is because you got $1 million lawsuit.
Well, that right, but
so maybe not. Two reasons.
Well, now we have two reasons. No, but it was when we were going down there and
fucking John always ruining everything.
I'm done. But it made me relook at it. But the market, when we did the numbers and we ran through and did all the research, I did all of that stuff. Nobody had ever sold a pay-per-view in grappling that went over 5,000 buys. And they've only gotten past 2,000 buys I think it's only happened once. So if you're selling a pay-per-view for $9.99 and you're only getting 2,000 to 5,000 buys, that's not even worth my fucking time. That's not even worth my time.
The problem is people can't tell who's winning unless somebody's hitting somebody.
Well, look at this. Like,
they can't. The guy who drinks Miller Lite and Coors Light can't tell who's getting beat unless they're hitting somebody and there's some swelling and blood. They really can't.
Yeah. So with that aspect of it, it's basically like people are like, oh, we're going to do pay-per-view. They have all the dreams like we did. I see some of these guys out there now. They're like, oh, we're going to go to pay-per-view. We're going to do this and do that. And I'm like, all right, you sound like me about 6 months ago, and I did my real research, and there was these events out there. Oh, we did 20,000 buys. Oh, we did this. And it just turned out that they were licking their wounds. We only did 10,000
There were too many fluff resumes in the game.
And it was just them trying to hype their own thing and whatever. So the reality is jiu-jitsu and grappling as a whole is too niche of a sport to ever pull any real meaningful numbers in that's going to equate to what you can get with a streaming provider. So you know what? I don't have to worry about the market, like all the extra stuff that goes into it. Flow's going to market the event. They're going to help us push it. They're going to
kind of like the ESPN does for the UFC now, right?
They're going to help us with content. Push
the hell out of it.
And I don't have to do any of that. Like, I go out and I market and I do my own thing. But having a provider like that to where they do most of the heavy lifting on that end, as in terms of producing the event and stuff. Whereas if you're doing a pay-per-view, you're basically probably going to be stuck with a couple of little cameras with some bad angles and a bad Wirecast system, and you're going to charge people money and they're going to get pissed off because they're like, I paid $9.99 for this, and that's what's going to
backlash. That's called backlash.
So that's what's going to happen. And so
bad lash.
The market's not there yet. So we decided, hey, we're going to go back to if the UFC is going to a subscription service, if these other big like Dazen right now, they're signing all like PBC and all these big boxing. That is where it's at, because if you can get subscribers and you can guarantee that revenue month to month, then you can have a more accurate representation about what you can spend and this and that, rather than having unreliable buy rates where you don't know if this is going to hit that hard. And you might have I was expecting 90,000. Well, I only got 50,000. Now you're like, fuck.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's a very risky game, so I'm definitely fine with a fixed amount right now with a scalable up or down. People want to go play pay-per-view and play Russian roulette, by all means have at it. You'll just be a flash in the pan and you'll go on your way.
Yeah, we're trying to think long-term here with Third Coast Grappling. Yeah. Right. We got a lot in store for the future.
I feel really good about your model, and not only that, but in the past year. Kudos.
Kudos,
Ryan. Kudos.
The entire. I mean, the first event was a little over a year ago.
You guys have made leaps and bounds, and you're promoting a sport throughout the ages to everybody.
And it's not even just a sport; it's a lifestyle we're selling too.
It is a lifestyle.
Because you know what? Because you know what? That the jiu-jitsu what got me is what saved my life, Mike. I mean,
that's a good point. I'm glad you're saying this because, I mean, this isn't something that you just grabbed hold of to figure out a way to. I mean, this is something that you practice, you believe.
It changed my life.
Changed your life. In the last, we got about 2 minutes left. Let me explain.
So if you look at jiu-jitsu this way, so if you've tried a lot of things, say you're out there, you're feeling run down, you're depressed, your life's not really where you want it to be, it's a little stagnant. Go sign up at a local gym. Be surrounded by super nice, positive people trying to better themselves. The environment, the camaraderie,
and trying to better you.
Yeah, and you're going in there and you're learning confidence on the go. You're learning how to problem solve under high pressure on the go. There's nothing like it. I'm telling you, if you like me, I went from 300 plus pounds to addicted to anything I ever had fun with, and just a complete mess of a person, to competing, winning at international levels, starting a promotion, getting married, having a kid. All that started after jiu-jitsu. My mom died from a drug overdose, and that's what really threw me into it because I didn't know how to deal with it. So I threw myself into jiu-jitsu, and here we are 3.5 years later, and it changed my life. And I'm telling you, anybody out there struggling, having a hard time, don't think it's funny. I'm not a gym guy. You're not going to catch me lifting weights, but if you put me on a jiu-jitsu mat, I'm right at home. So give it a try for sure.
That's true.
Damn.
Awesome.
Man, you didn't even need 2 minutes. You just nailed that, right?
Hey,
Oliver, Ryan, thank you for joining us.
You guys are awesome, man.
Thank you
so we got
much.
we got events pretty much every month coming up. So the next one's in March at the Warehouse Live.
Is there a website?
Mike, Betsy, Carrie, and I will be there drinking door.
ThirdCoastGrappling.com. That's with a 3RD. Check it out. We've got a great content on our YouTube, which is
check out our YouTube. Please
subscribe. We've got a ton of free content, free matches.
You guys have two different podcasts going on now. You got the Third Coast show,
3CG Radio, and then the Fish Stripe as well.
Yeah.
Both have YouTube channels. Check it out.
And it all started here. It all started with you guys.
You guys are inspiration.
Man, absolutely, man.
Kudos, guys. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, really, always fun.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Space travel. Beer. Does this look infected? Beer. Boating. Did we mention there's beer? Hey, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week, we think. Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Galactic Coast Power Hour. Vinyl Draft Radio. I gotta pee.